Hi everyone, welcome to this quick tutorial on using H2H Share, a product of Live H2H. In this session, we're going to actually jump into a webinar, what we call live shares, and give you a little overview on what you can do once you're there. So if you have been watching the past tutorials, you'll know that we created an example of Sarah Doe, who is the head of a marketing company, who is creating a series of webinars on marketing. And she has one that's coming up called Marketing 101 using traditional and online media. So now we're going to actually jump into our session. When it's time for your session, when you go to liveh2h.com/share and you click on My Live Shares, you'll get to the session, the live share that's in session. So it looks like Sarah's live share is in session now. So she can just go ahead and start My Live Share. And then it'll take you into what we call the meeting room, but it's the place where you can host your webinar. So now we have a few options. If you click on the top 6 squares at the top left of your screen, you'll see the modular layout of your live share. One really cool thing about live shares is that your viewer can customize the experience based on what they want to see. So as a host, it's good to know that what you see is not always what your viewer will see. So you might need to guide your viewers if you're trying to bring attention to some part of the screen or some part of the video. You can just let them know that's where you are, because they may not be seeing that on their screen. The top left, as you see here, is the video feed, and that will just be the video feed that you have going on. And you can, even from the top left, you can turn video off, and that'll put your avatar, your chosen profile avatar there. You can also turn audio off, and over here you can check how your connection speed is. So here it looks like we're green and we're good to go. Now in the next module, in the top middle, you'll see that you have an option to use this Liveboard. And basically a Liveboard lets you annotate and take notes. So you can actually just click on the arrow here and use some of the tools to write on the Liveboard and communicate with your audience. You can also, if you click on the little plus sign, you can upload a file. So this is a great way to upload PowerPoint presentations or PDFs or images that you want to call attention to. So we can just try that out right now too. You can choose a file. Let's just choose our image. And then you can choose whether you want to upload that to the current live board or to a new one. So this gives you an option of having multiple live boards open. And this is great if you are showing things where you want people to be able to toggle between different live boards. So let's go ahead and put that in the current one. So now you can see that the image has uploaded. Now if we go back to the top left to the 6 modules, we get back to our modular view. The third module over here is just a search window. That's for you or for your viewers to be able to search as you're speaking. So this is great if you're using any terms or acronyms and people want to look that up as you're giving your webinar. Another great feature is if you go to the bottom left, you can see the chat box. So this is a way that you can communicate with your audience and they can communicate with you and communicate with each other. So this is great for answering questions as they come up from your viewers, or doing a sound check and making sure everyone can hear and see you clearly. So it's a very useful feature to have, and there's also a ton of emojis, which makes things fun as well. So the bottom middle is the live transcript. So one of the features of Live H2H is that you can have a live auto transcript. So this is using some of the top technology that creates automated transcripts, and you can enable that. And the really cool thing is that you can enable it in different languages. So if you're trying to translate and interpret and just get a snapshot of what the speaker is speaking about, if you're watching one, you can use that there. Now the bottom right module is for screen sharing, and this can be really helpful if you're doing some kind of instructive webinar where you are showing how to use a product or you're demoing something, and you can just click to start the screen share and then choose which window that will be shared. and let's say we can just right now, for just so you can see that the screen is being shared, this entire screen, and the way you know that as a host is that you see this little button on the bottom, and then you can just stop the screen share when you are ready to stop that. So now let's go through some of the different icons that are around the screen, so you can just get a little overview of that. So if you go to the top left, it'll tell you how your connection speed is. You can, if you are having any issues with your connection, you can click on this button to take a little to do a test to see how your system is and whether it's ready. A tip to host: it's always great to start your live share early, maybe even half an hour or 15 minutes early, and do the speed test to make sure that you have the right connection speed. Now we get to this number. This is actually what we call the meeting ID number, and if you use liveh2h.com, and even if you go to join a meeting or share a meeting ID number, that's the number you'll need to help people find your webinar. If you click down on the arrow, you can see that there is a pre-populated link that has the direct link to the webinar, and that includes the meeting number. And there's this great feature where you can just enter email addresses and then have automated emails sent out so people can join your live share even as you're getting ready to do it, or even as the live share is going. The other really important button here is the record button, and it's really helpful to record your live share session so that you have it available for playback at a later time. That's a way you can continue growing your audience and kind of building your brand or your work even without you having to be doing the live share live. So that's a really great feature, and we'll show in a upcoming tutorial, we'll show you how to access various live shares of other people that other people have created. Now if you go to the search, you can actually have a full screen search of the search engine there. We've gone through the modules. Now in the top middle, you can select to go full screen video. So if you do that, your video will go full screen, and to end that, you can just go back to the modules. You can also have an option to go full screen Liveboard, and this is great if you are trying to show something that that you might need to see more closely. So you can go back to the modular view, and the top middle is a share screen, and that will just do the same thing that the bottom right does. You can toggle the chat so that you can have this this orientation of the modules, which will kind of simplify the layout so that you have the chat on the bottom, you have the video, and you have the Liveboard on top. Finally, right from the top, you can turn your video off and on, and you can turn audio off and on. Another really important button here is on the top right, you have the live support button. And if you're having any issues as a host or as a viewer, you can use that live support button to get some support and help. Now, going to the left side, if you click on the participant button, it's another place where you can, mute your audio, turn off your video, and enable screen share. You have a live transcript, and you can decide how you can turn live transcript on, and you can also decide how that will be displayed. And you can decide what language the subtitles will come in. Here is the translator button. Here you can see if you've lined up any translators, you can see who they are, and in case you need to send a reminder email, you can go ahead and send a reminder email, or even add a language as well. Now we get to the settings button. And from the setting button, you can also turn the recording off, on and off of your live share. You can allow your participants to ask questions by raising their hand, and you can allow chat. You can also specify what microphone you want the system to use and what camera you want the system to use. And this is really great if you're attaching any external cameras or microphones. You want to make sure that those are the ones that the sound and video are coming through. And finally, you can choose your support language between Mandarin and English, and And yeah, and then you're basically good to go. One of the other cool features of the Liveshare once you're inside the session is that if you hover over any of the modules, you can actually change the orientation to kind of favor that module. So you have a lot of different options, and you can configure your layout just so that it suits you just right. And so can your viewers. So it's a great idea to give the viewers of your Liveshare a quick tour so they know they can customize their view as well. So it's great to end your recording and then end your meeting. So one way you can end recording is if you go to the settings button, you can unclick the record button meeting. And then you can just end the recording by clicking on the red phone on the bottom left. And that's your Liveshare session. It's a pretty intuitive and interactive way to engage with your audience and to build your viewers. In the next session, we'll go over how to view and make the most of other live shows.